What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Chris Gunther Show. Thank y'all so much for watching. Remember to like and share this video. I would greatly appreciate it. On today's show, I am beyond honored and privileged to have NBA World Champion and one of the greatest defenders to ever touch the NBA court, Mr. Metta World Peace. How you doing, sir?
Everything's good, man. How you doing?
Doing good. I appreciate you so much for your time. I've definitely been trying to get you for a little bit over a year now, so thank you.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So let's get right into it. You know, you actually got some new music coming out, correct?
Yes, I do, man. It's not actually coming out, it's being created right now. I had a big issue when I first started my music career. For me, music was like it was kind of personal. I'm not naturally an artist, but my neighborhood is born and bred with artists. And from everything from Mobb Deep to Nation to Nature to Mega to Nas to Tragedy to CNN and Roxanne Shante, MC Shan, Marley Marl, everybody. And that's where I'm from, right? So, and although we bred a lot of stars and people made a lot of money from our neighborhood, like hundreds of millions of dollars, actually.
Very true.
Yeah, lots of money from our neighborhood, hundreds of millions, crazy. But for me, I got a story. And when I was first telling my story, I came into the league in 1999. When I came into the league, first thing I did was represent my hood because I didn't want anyone to think that I was changing. And I didn't want corporate to think that, I'm going to act a different way because now I'm here. So I wanted to just set the tone right when I made it. Now, while I was in the NBA, it was still friends that I was emotionally and spiritually tied to that were still in the hood as I took my family out of the hood. And there's things that happened. I had friends that had drama with friends, and I knew people that had drama with each other and different things like that. And so as I was in the NBA, mentally, I was still back home in Queensbridge. I was with my family. I was in Queensbridge. Then I was like, this new life. Oh, wow, I got a little bit of money. Oh, wow, now I'm like doing different things. So it was scrambling in my mind. But when I was doing my first album, the initial bars and lyrics that came from my vocal cords was vulgar language, blunt language, anything you hear in hip hop. That's how it was. But the problem was I was playing for the Bulls. I was playing in the NBA. So I didn't necessarily want to have that type of language with my music. So then I found myself every single word, I had to find another word. Then I had to change topics on songs because I didn't want to necessarily put out the type of topics that I felt passionate about, which was mostly like hardcore shit, right? And so then I was in a big dilemma. Every time I'm making music, I'm always questioning myself, which I think I did it for the best, but the type of music I want to make, it's uncensored, unfiltered, and it's not necessarily PG-13, right? So this album I'm going to make, this project I'm going to make, I'm going to do it. It's going to be uncensored. It's going to be filled with passion. And I can't relive how I felt in 1999, but what I'm going to do is tell stories as if it was 1999 for me. I want to put out a really good project. And that's what it is, man. I'm going to put out this project. I definitely don't want to offend anyone. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to offend anyone, but you're going to hear the album and you might not want to listen to it. You might not want your kids to listen to it, but these are just going to be stories about the hood, how I grew up, and we're going to put it out on wax or digital because there's no more wax. We'll put it out and it's going to be hip hop. It's going to be pure hip hop. And then after I complete that album, then I want to do another album taking me back to 2005, like after the brawl. Then I want to do another album taking me back there. And then I want to do another album taking me to about 2010, how I feel at that time. Like, I can't relive those moments, but I'm going to try to do my best. And then I'll do another one. I did 3 albums my last season. With 2016, I did 3 albums that year. I put 3 albums on iTunes. I took them all down. I did 3 albums in 1 year. And I really liked it. But the problem was when you're an artist, sorry to rant so long. You just asked about it.
No, it's good. I need this. Go ahead.
So when you're an artist, depending on who you are, right? If you Jay-Z, you probably going in the booth and killing it on your own. You know, Drake had that issue where people was questioning if he was writing. Well, Drake is really busy. How can Drake write when he's trying to do other business? It's not the same thing with Diddy. When Diddy said, I don't write rhymes, I write checks. But when I was doing my music, I was rushing the songs. I needed to get the songs done. It typically takes about 14 hours to complete a song. That's my experience. It takes about 14 hours to complete a full song. And to get an album, you got to have 100 songs. I got over 300 songs, maybe 500. And to complete an album, you need at least 100 songs to pick from, you know? But the problem was with me, the 300 songs that I have, only about 24 or 30 are complete, like complete, finish, hook, ad-libs, mix, everything. You know, the other ones are all incomplete, and I put out incomplete projects. So this time as an artist, what I want to do is collaborate with the writing, collaborate with producers, collaborate with all sorts of artists, engineers and different things. And, you know, I really want to tell my story through music. If it goes well, if people like it, then I'll be doing shows. If not, it'll just be an art piece, you know, for my fans. But I have done lots of shows. I opened up for Young Jeezy on the West Coast tour. I opened up for Fat Joe on the European tour. I opened up for Ludacris in Illinois. I got songs with Max B, Jim Jones, Nature, Fat Joe, Be Real, Dub C. So I had this weird experience that is scattered, and I want to kind of pull it together. And if I can, I love the stage. I feel like that's where I thrive at, on stage. If it goes well with the music and people really like it, then yeah, I'll take it to the next step and actually start to do shows again. But the first foundation right now is trying to tell the right story. You know, trying to tell the right story, you know, unfiltered and genuine, and do a really good art piece. You know, that's what we're trying to work on.
Storytelling is what music is all about. People have to be able to relate to it, and they have to be able to feel it. What is it that you want people to take away from your music?
You know what? It's an interesting question. Like when I look at Jay-Z and I see how much he evolved, I remember a couple of years ago, I'm a big fan of Volume 1 and Volume 2. I'm not a Reasonable Doubt guy. I'm a Volume 1 and Volume 2 guy.
My favorite Jay-Z album is the Black Album.
I'm not a Black Album guy. I'm not a Black Album guy. I'm a Volume 1 and Volume 2. Like, I'll be feeling it. I'm not a Reasonable Doubt guy, and I'm not any of the other albums. I didn't even listen to 4:4. But when I listen to Jay-Z, how much he evolved, and he talks about that. If you want to hear my old shit, buy my old album. For me, it's do some old music. What I want to do is take how I felt a long time ago and bring it back to life. I know we must evolve, but I'm a competitive, right? And I didn't get a chance to fulfill not even a great album in terms of selling millions of records, a great album in terms of how I felt about it. So in my mind, I don't have an album. And I did my first album in 2005. Then I did 3 albums my last year. And I did 1 or 2 more albums in between that. I did about 5 or 6 albums during my career that a lot of people don't know about. Because then I did a bunch of singles, and the big single was Champions. That was the one that actually sold.
I love that song, by the way.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So basically, I'm taking away, I want people to take away that Metta World Peace and from the hood. That's it. That's all I care about. You know, I don't really care about anything else. At this point, for this project, it is going to be, you're going to know exactly where I'm from.
I think one of the most interesting things about you is you were bold enough to be you. Yeah, you had the street edge, but you also had the basketball knowledge. And I'm going to give a huge shout out to my big sister, Nikki, who is one of your biggest fans. And when I told her that I got this, she said, let him know that I really rock with him because he was able to bring that edge, that street edge to, basketball. Would you say that edge for you came from growing up in New York?
Yo, the edge, yeah, man, there's a bunch of things so when people talk about the edge, it's not always a positive thing. Because in order to get the edge, you have had to go through something. And the things that I've experienced, I don't necessarily want anyone to experience those things. I'm not saying there's anything that LeBron James been through. LeBron James used to walk around with holes in his shoes. I heard about how he grew up. You got Kwame Brown, who family had different things, as we found out recently. You got Karan Butler, who was in some drama when he was growing up, right? So everybody got a different story, but I'm just so, I'm such an open book where it seems like sometimes it would seem like my story is really rough and tough, but a lot of people got these stories. I just blurt things out and just say whatever's on my mind. And I think the edge came from, right before I went to St. John's, I knew I was going to go pro. My brother was going to be with me, my big brother, but he get knocked for moving drugs under bus transportation. 10 years, boom, that's it. Knocked, 10 years in the feds, bomb. Now, at that point, I was still a little edgy. I wasn't doing what my brother was doing, but, I knew everything. You know what I'm saying? That's why I can't really, I was never able to really be around or deal with police as much because it was too much. It's too much. I'm on this side. You know what I'm saying? I'm on this side. So, but then you go to the NBA and now you're around nothing but police. You know what I'm saying? You're around nothing but police. So I had to walk that fine line because I knew the history of my people that are suffering from, having to participate in these illegal activities are forced to participate, in these illegal activities. And often they go to jail. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them's in jail, dead, tried to make that last transaction.
Right.
Didn't quite go through. And that's the edge. Then if a close one to you, get shot, live or die, that's not something you just turn your head out at. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that you just say, okay, I'm gonna go back and play the game and everything's fine. I got my family, I got my house. It don't work like that.
It really doesn't, because things that we go through can really trigger us mentally, sometimes for the good and sometimes for the bad. And, this month highlights mental health awareness. How critical is mental health, especially for African-American men?
I don't think it's mental health. I want people to, there's a couple things when you got to address mental health. So if you grow up in a household, let's just say your mom is saying, you're never going to make it, or your dad, you're never going to make it, or you're getting in trouble and clean up, whatever. That can cause some stress. That's one thing. Let's just say your girl left you or her man left her, whatever. That's another thing that could cause some stress, right? Traumatizing. But let's just say people are blazing in the streets.
Right.
Busting their gun. Family members dying, friends is dying. That ain't mental health. That's not mental health. That is traumatizing stuff. It depends on what you went through. Right now, mental health is it's generalized and it's very vague, and that's often how we diagnose people. Sometimes you're generalized to when you diagnose someone, hey, just take a pill, and things like that, right? So mental health is vague in our communities. Then you got to talk about slavery. Now, one would say, why are we bringing that back up? I'm not bringing that back up right now for someone to feel sorry for us. I'm bringing it up because it scarred our parents. Our parents was here first, so they even got more of an understanding of slavery. And then our grandparents had even more of an understanding. And then when you go take it back, when we were separated from the boat, some stayed in Africa, some got on the boat. This was a trickle-down effect. You understand? So with that being said, from day one, the kids wasn't being raised by family, right? So now in our neighborhoods, we see the same thing. We're not used to having someone being raised by the family on average. Above average, families are separated. And not just Black families, a lot of different ethnicities. But under these circumstances, mental health is, traumatizing situations. Is not only, hey, in our communities, we don't really talk about things, or we mentally unhealthy, stressed, having anxiety and depression for no reason. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason, and you got to break it down. And then when you break it down and you're able to actually identify why we actually have depression or anxiety, right? Depression or anxiety, those are the two main issues. They
are.
Those are the two main ones. Mental health is a beautiful thing because mental health could be healthy. Your mental health could be excellent. Like you could be A1. That's a positive thing. Or your life is great. So mental health sometimes get a negative stigma because we only identify mental health with negativity. But mental health should be also, glorified because mental health. When you get over the hump, that's beautiful. It's positive mental health. So depression, anxiety is something that we need to really focus on. Why do we have depression and anxiety? There's a reason for that, and then we break it down. That's how I think about it. Just from experiencing it, from opening up to the public, to the world, and then from social workers, therapists, getting awards and just working with people, talking to so many counselors over the last couple of years. So now I got a different perspective on it.
You've been through so much on the court and off the court, and it's great to see that, you are in a phenomenal headspace. However, you've been through a lot. Was basketball, in a sense, a way for you to escape the things that you were going through?
Yeah, man, it's really interesting. Basketball was a way. I didn't know I was going to be playing basketball. I was running. I was playing freeze tag in my neighborhood. I was playing tag.
Kids today don't know what that's about. That's a daggone shame.
That's a damn shame. Freeze tag, tag, manhunt, which is a little bit aggressive tag.
Like kids, y'all gotta Google the stuff that we went through.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Skelly, things like that. Hide and go seek in the neighborhood. Those as a kid, that's what I was doing. But my mom and dad told me something a long time ago. When I was doing my therapy, my first real set of therapy sessions, 2005, my counselor had my parents open up wounds to close them. So then I realized that my mom and dad was having issues when they had me, right? When they had me, they was going through stuff, things I can't remember, but subconsciously it's there. So I had an edge. I had this edge where a frustration from day one being preschool. I got suspended in preschool, going to preschool, stressed. How does that even work? You're only 3 or 4 years old. How you get suspended from there? And then you get in trouble, you get punishment, you get that whooping, and you go back and get suspended the next year for preschool. And then kindergarten, first grade, every single grade I was in, I've been suspended, every single one, right? So where does that come from? You know what I'm saying? And then my parents told me about these things. I'm like, oh, wow. That's why I'm like I am how I am. Because before 1999, when I was in the league, in high school, when I'm getting in trouble, you know, I'm just like, what's going on? Come on, like, just love the game. Like, why are you feeling like, you know what I'm saying? I just
I do.
couldn't, I didn't understand it. And it was so frustrating because I'm such a good guy. I'm really like soft spoken. You know what I'm saying? I'm really uh giving and caring. But why do I get ticked off so easy? And it was bothering me that I couldn't figure this out. I'm like, what the hell? Like, again, you make all this money. You 13 more NBA, first team all defense. Like, what is wrong with you, right? That's what I'm telling myself. But then when I got that therapy session, like 2-3 years after the brawl, I'm like, oh wow, this is really interesting. I'm like, thanks, mom, thanks, dad. You know, I'm glad y'all told me that because it's really not my fault. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to even embrace therapy more. I started getting the meditation, and they gave me something that I could, identify with. And then I started to, look at all the history of slavery, where we from, different things like that. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be all right. Yeah, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna get through this,
Yeah, you had, just said something that it was very powerful. Like, you're gonna get through this. You've been through a lot. You played in the NBA when it was extremely physical, and I know that had to be, draining. What was it like for you on a nightly basis to go up against one of the best guys in the league on any given night?
That was amazing. It was Carlisle, Coach Carlisle, Rick Carlisle, an amazing coach. I had my best offensive career under him, and he's an amazing defensive coach, and he knows how to hire a defensive coach also. So with that being said, we'll go through the defensive strategy. And meanwhile, we're going to funnel to the baseline. We're going to help. And they knew, and my thing was, hey, guys, stay on your man. When my man has the ball, deny your man. Do not let your man catch the ball because I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. And I remember, like, sometimes that was the plan. Sometimes when my man gets the ball, just stay on your man. Don't worry about it. I got the angles covered. Sometimes guys would. It's just amazing to have your own defensive strategy. It ain't no strategy. I got it.
Is that how? Is that how you won Defensive Player of the Year back in 2004?
2004, it was lockdown. Like, well, I had Jermaine behind me, but that was the reason why I got it because Jermaine was behind me, honestly. But when you guarding somebody and you're doing shell defense, you force it to the baseline to the big. Well, I'm cutting off that baseline if I can. I ain't gonna even let you get to Jermaine. And if you get to Jermaine, well, good luck. You're gonna get, good luck down there. But I'm not even letting you get there. I'm not even letting you get the ball. First, you gotta get the ball first. I mean, now sometimes, and when I talk about it, it's not really to like make a really good player look bad. Or I'm not trying to talk bad about a play because I really don't. I really respect the plays, but I don't have a "come fly with me" video. I don't have my brother LeBron James got the movie. It's called his great documentary. He's a rookie. I don't have that. Everybody want that. I'm an NBA player. I got pride too. So with me, I can only tell these stories on these platforms. You know what I'm saying? And not every All-Star I was able to shut down. Like LeBron, he's probably shooting over 50% against me in his career. Maybe not. Maybe 40-something. But it's definitely a hell of a percentage. But I can't say that for everyone, every Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Some Hall of Famers, I was going in and we was getting it in and we was locking up.
I believe also because you played with pride. You played with your heart and you showed it every single night, especially when, you were in Indiana, then you got traded to Sacramento. And then from there, you were with the Rockets. And I must be honest, I'm a Laker fan. Kobe was my favorite player. When you were in Houston, I hated you because you were the one that was always getting in Kobe's grill, always the one not backing down. And I'm like, dang. But that also goes to show you the type of mindset that you got to have every single time. from all of those teams that you played with, who was, before you got to the Lakers, who was your favorite teammate?
I had a lot of great teammates, man. Like, so I spent some time with Jamison Brewer. I remember one time me and Jamison Brewer went horseback riding. We had a great time, man. We went horseback. We got to Arizona. We went horseback riding, burned it down. Man, we was burning it down way before everybody was, but we was out there. You know what I mean? I spent some time with Jonathan Bender in the studio. I spent a lot of time with Brad Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie year, I spent some time with Elton Brand, Corey Benjamin. And I could count on my hand. But when I got older, I was spending time with like Mike Bibby a little bit. We went out with the guys to the spots a little bit. In Houston, I spent a lot of time with guys playing cards, going to guys' house. My first year with the Lakers, I spent some time with some guys, couple days going to the house and playing some cards, and different things like that. So I would say I don't really have a closest friend, I mean, I just pretty much was very grateful for everything.
So you get to the Lakers, and you helped us go back to championships in 2009 and of course 2010. The 2010 NBA Finals was one of the most talked about finals in history of the NBA. 7-game series going against the Boston Celtics. What was it like going against the Celtics, especially that year?
For me, it was a lot of reflection. Because I always knew I was a great player. Like high school, 27-0. AAU 67-1. Get to St. John's, we go to the tournament. So I always knew I was a winner, but I wasn't able to put it together. And then I always felt like since I was making so many mistakes when I got it to the league, extra partying, just doing extra stuff that I would never normally do. I felt like my opportunity to show my greatness was never going to show. Now, granted, I did have some awards at that time. I didn't have an MVP, which that was one of the target lists. That was on my target list. First team or NBA was on the target list. Yeah, those things didn't happen, but everything else happened. 2010 comes, 2009, even before that. Actually, 2008, when I was with the Kings, I knew that I wanted to get back to the playoffs. And my first year with the Kings, we went to the playoffs. After I got traded, we was in last place in the West. I get to the Kings, we go to the playoffs, almost beat the Spurs. And then they fire Rick Adelman, get rid of Bonzi. We don't go to the playoffs for 3 years. Then I get traded to the Rockets. We got Yao. Now I'm getting back traded onto winning teams. So I'm like, because normally a team that's in winning position, they're not going to pick somebody who's going to be detrimental to the team. So I was on teams that wasn't winning, and then really good players didn't want to play with me. Really good players didn't want to play with me because how it was, but it didn't matter because we just see them and we beat them anyway, so it don't even matter. But but it was hurting. It was hurting organizations. Now when I turned my little life around, I got to the Rockets. We was good. I was on a team with Yao, T-Mac, Dikembe, Shane Battier. Those 4 in particular because those guys had Hall of Fame careers.
Sure did.
And a young Kyle Lowry. Young Kyle Lowry didn't have a Hall of Fame career yet. Now he did. But before that, he wasn't at his Hall of Fame career. So then after that year, I was supposed to go back to the Rockets. I didn't want to go anywhere. We just lost to the Lakers in Game 7. I was averaging 22 or 23 in the playoffs, which was my career high. But all the other years, I was in trouble. I missed the playoffs because I was in trouble getting suspended and different things. So I didn't have a chance to play in multiple playoffs. I just didn't have that opportunity. But when it was my time, I was 29 years old. So, light work. Then after we took it to 7, what I'm thinking is I'm gonna go maybe back to the Rockets. Yao broke his foot, so I'm like, oh man, I don't know how we're gonna get back to the promised land now. And I'm thinking I'm going back to the Rockets. Rockets told me I was coming back, but I don't want to snitch, but something happened which I wasn't happy about. Then I get to the Lakers. Lakers called me at 12:01. I was in the club. They called me on my phone. Hey, Lakers won. I'm like, oh, for what? I don't want. Why I want to go to Lakers? I just beat us. I'm not that type of person. But I didn't have any more teams, so I said, you know what? It's over. That competitive stuff that I used to have, not wanting to play with people. I almost wanted to play with LeBron too, actually. I spoke with LeBron one time ever on the phone, which was a big honor and a compliment. I love him for that, for calling me, because this just made me feel so good. But I didn't want to play with LeBron or Kobe or Pierce, none of these guys. R.I.P. Kobe, because I'm competitive. I want to play against these guys. But when I found out that, oh wow, I don't really have no options, I just went to the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? And I just said, I guess I'm gonna be a role player for the rest of my career. I signed a 6-year deal. So I said, and I saw how he was playing. So I said, I kind of accepted the fact that I'm never gonna average 20 plus here.
Because you got
That's
Kobe.
not happening. Huh?
Because you got Kobe on the court with you.
It's not just Kobe. Everybody can ball. Fisher, Powell, Lamar. My whole thing was, having my team and doing my thing and winning. Not just winning, doing both. But on this team, I wasn't able to do that. So, I had to deal with it. And that was it. We won a title. And we won a title. I'm just like, I reflect on it on my career. And I'm like, I must be really lucky. Because I have everything. I literally have everything. Only thing I don't have is an MVP. Only thing I don't have is an MVP and a first team all defense. Got everything else. I
remember back in 2004, you were in the MVP conversation, and you were definitely around the in terms of being top players in the league. I think people forget you were a guy that could do it on both ends of the floor. You could go out and get about 20 to 25, and then you could go shut down the opposing best player. And now, you get a chance to play with the Lakers. 2010 Game 7, you catch it. I want to say it was the right side of the court, and you hit a quick jab and hit the three. And when you blew the kisses, I just remember watching that because I was in this college prep program at that time, and I was sneaking and watching it. And when you hit that shot, I started screaming at the top of my lungs because I'm like, we're about to win. The Lakers got it. And I need to thank you, because when I played ball in high school, I tried to play defense just like you. I couldn't do it, but I tried. And anytime I was open from the three, I knocked it down. So I need to tell you thank you for the inspiration.
Absolutely, man. I didn't look at it as that epic because, honestly, I've been scoring for a long time in the league, right? So for me, that was just jab, shoot. When I look back at it, I'm like, that's not only a jab, shoot, that's incredible. For one, I didn't want the game to go to overtime with that. I wanted to go up 6. I didn't want to go 5. So as I shot the 3, try to spread this game out.
I'm so glad too.
Spread that game out. They make a 3, cool. Worst case, I missed a 3. They come down, make a 3. We got Kobe. So worst case, we got Kobe. So
what was
really
it like playing with Kobe?
Kobe's incredible, man. He's incredible. I mean, all the pressure was on him. I ain't had no pressure on me. All I gotta do is shoot when I'm open. He gotta do all the. Kobe gotta worry about. Hey, if I give it to him, is he gonna make it? Is Fisher gonna make it? Is Powell gonna make it? Is Lamar? Oh my goodness! Should I tell Phil to put somebody? Kobe got a lot to worry about. Me, I'll just shoot it. I don't got no pressure, man. Kobe, he embraced it. He
sure did. And to me, in my opinion, he's the greatest Laker. So, rest in peace to the Black Mamba. It's great.
He's still here, man. Actually, yeah, it's rest in peace. But you want to know something? He here, man. It's hard. It's hard to it's hard to come to grips with that he ain't here. And I'm cool with that. Because if I didn't come to grips with it yet, and I believe he's still here, I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't quite come to grips with it. I often smile a lot when we mention Kobe's name. Smiling because I always smile when I see Kobe. You know what I'm saying? And it's just surreal. I literally, to this day, I don't necessarily believe it. I literally don't necessarily believe, because you got to think about the guy I know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know this warrior that is a magician when it comes to basketball. And he creates magic. You know, when you look at movies, you know, whether you believe in fiction or not, but magic, you can do anything. And that's the type of person I believe Kobe is. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, it's hard to believe, like, you know, it's hard to believe that he ain't here, but you know what I'm saying? He hasn't been around for a year and a half now. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you will hope that he'd come back just walking up on the sand or something like that. But you know, it is what it is.
It is, you know, transitioning now, we're definitely coming to the end. Couple quick questions. The NBA playoffs are here. The Miami Heat just got swept. Brooklyn surprisingly lost to the Celtics. But my Lakers, our Lakers, we won. Looking to close it out. Who do you have coming out of the West and who do you have coming out of the East this year?
Well, man, there's a lot of competition, so no disrespect to anyone, but you know, I got Lakers versus Heat. I just don't know how you stop those guys. I mean, sorry, not the Heat. Nets. I just don't know how you stop the Nets. I have no answer. I have no answer. I can't answer it. So I feel like, and then how do you stop a hungry LeBron? If someone can answer that for me, do it. But I just don't know how. I don't know how you stop a hungry LeBron.
It's hard to stop a guy that's been to the finals that many times consecutively. And, you know, it's also, I want to say, one of the coolest things because you see LeBron at this stage in his career still dominating. But on the flip side, he's got his work cut out because we all know that this is not going to be an easy task. However, it can be done. Definitely coming to the end. You know, I appreciate you so much for your time.
Yeah, man, definitely, man. Thanks for definitely having me. Your show. I've heard that you've been around the scene and you up and coming, so you know, much success.
I greatly appreciate that. Before we get out of here, you also have a couple things. You have a league that you do. You have a clothing brand. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, man, we got the Experts Exports app. Please sign up to the app. Create a game. Invite your friends to play. Keep the score in the app and press save. You know, that's pretty much it. It's a basketball app. And we just created a bunch of opportunities there. And then we have the pandasfriend.com. It's a brand that supports mental health awareness. So that's the pandasfriend.com. Purchase some product if you want. We have Artist Management Group, which is my parent company. And, you know, we're trying to launch different businesses and sports and e-commerce. And obviously, like I told you, those are my first two companies, you know, that we've been focused on.
Sounds amazing. Before we get out of here, one of the last things I always ask my guests, who would you like to see on the Chris Gunther Show? And if you have any contact, can you help me out?
On your show, I think, Daniel Artest would be a good one. I think Kwame Brown would be a good one. All the smoke guys, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson would be a great one. Vernon Maxwell would be a really good one.
Mad Max.
Mad Max, you know that.
Yeah, I think all of those would be dope. So to Kwame Brown, to Mad Maxwell, to Steven Jackson, to Daniel Artest, if any of y'all watching this, especially Steve Jackson, because I got Matt Barnes, that would be great. But just go ahead and put that out there. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing else needs to be asked. Mr. Metta World Peace, thank you so much for your time, sir.